This program is not suitable for persons under the age of 18. Please do remember to cannabis responsibly at all times. Welcome to another episode of POTCAST. I'm sitting here with the human rights activist, cannabis researcher, and a media activist. Am I forgetting any other titles?
Not at all.
Ras Sipho, everybody. Thank you so much for coming to my home.
Give thanks, my sister. Jambo AFRIKA, Rasta greetings.
The reason why I have you here is to speak about the recent developments that have taken place. Rona has come through and has informed us that they are going to fast track the policy and regulations for cannabis use for medical purposes. What do you think of that? Are we going to be benefiting Rona, AFRIKA, because as we know, there's been 33 licenses that have been issued, and only from those 33, 2 or 3 black people have been issued those licenses. But do you think it's going to be different right now?
My sister, and to your viewers, what is important is that the SONA, the State of the Nation address of last year and this year, is almost the same script, that the cannabis industry in South Africa is still being caged and is not yet free to many people who suffered under the apartheid regime and even under the ANC government on the issue of empowerment and development. You are sitting with 2 documents, a cannabis master plan, a cannabis bill. All those issues are going to lead to one another to free the herb to benefit the ordinary people. Now, when the president talks about marijuana industry and link it to Lesotho, there are almost more than 3 or 4 African countries in the SADC who are already pushing marijuana with the EU countries. Again, another mismatch, because you are investing marijuana in Europe, you are giving them life, but you leave your own people behind.
Wait.
So that is my challenge, that even the cannabis industry, no matter we have the imbalances, inequalities around those who are holding licenses, you have a debate now about the payments. We have a debate about the license pricing. The hemp industry itself as well is not fair to the ordinary people. So if for us to level the playing field, if we have to level the playing field, we need to be honest to ourselves and the government, provinces, local municipalities. We need to think deeper around how do we empower our people in the local municipalities, how do we cut the red tape, access to land, and how do we even produce your hemp products here at home, and even the medicinal cannabis that we find in the shelves that I won't mention their shops, but just to say that those properties or those products that are if they were locally made, if President could have said so. But for me is that, as you have known, I've been critical towards the African National Congress government from 1994. They've been arresting Rastafarians, they've been prosecuting them. But if you go on a State of the Nation and you want to talk about freeing marijuana industry, empowering 130,000 jobs, did you even think of Rastafarians that they are not even employed, they are unemployable others? It's only a tiny of us who are working for the system. And we are there in the system to just disrupt the system. We are not there to enjoy the system. We are there to disrupt the system.
For the greater of good, though.
For the greater of good. It's a positive criticism, it's not a negative one when we are saying even the government institutions like your Chapter 9 institutions, they have not been defending Rastafarians. They have not been defending traditional healers. They have not been defending the indigenous knowledge communities or your IKS, Masarwa, AFRIKA. So you need to understand what the issue of cannabis in this country, when you dig deeper into it, it needs to benefit the ordinary people first. But what has happened since 2018 is a new page and a new picture.
Now, have they been, I know they've been engaging the Rastafarian community in regards to legalizing it. Are there talks in now fully legalizing it, and are they stipulating as to when it's going to take place?
Yeah, but remember, it's not only the Rastafarians, it was an open general bill since 2020, 2021. The bill must come to an end this year. They must finalize the bill in Parliament, despite its challenges that, as we spoke last time in November at the Cannabis Expo, I mentioned to you that the issue of public consultation was not respected. The issues around how many plants you must grow, it's been challenged in terms of international practice. But let's leave that part and look just on the part of where are we now? Because when the last response that came from Justice Department to the Rastafarian community was to say, we might look at the issues of exempting you. We can exempt you either culturally and spiritually.
What does that mean exactly?
I want to tell you something about marijuana in the Rastafari community compared to the commercial aspect.
Okay.
The commercial trade and aspect is for people selling. Recreational use is those who smoke in the corners. But within the Rastafari community, marijuana is a sacred herb. They use it in their cultural rituals and events, whether reggae, rubber dubs. When in a spiritual, churchical form, they use marijuana as a
incense
sacrament.
Okay.
Not only as an incense, but sacrament. So they have justified, and it's global. Even the Rastafarians in Jamaica, Barbados, they have spoken about the sacramental use of marijuana. So that's the aspect that the South Africans never knew. We only thought Rastafarians smoked marijuana just as part of recreation, when actually it was culturally and spiritually. Now Rastafarians are pushing for commerce and trade as well, because they are all aware that there are people who have been selling it, there are people who have been trading. So if we only limit ourselves to an exemption of culture and religion, and I must hesitate to say you have the issue around criminal exemption, criminal prosecution, to be exempted from criminal prosecution. Like I said to you, for many years under apartheid, people who were using marijuana, whether they were Rastafarians or not, they were prosecuted under apartheid laws. 1994, the ANC government continues with those apartheid laws to still prosecute and criminalize. The latest stats of people who are being arrested, if you look on drugs, it almost goes to marijuana, because you still have those illiterate people who still classify marijuana as a drug. So that's a challenge that we are having, that the issue of exemption, like I'm explaining to you, is that those who are pushing for the social clubs, the bill doesn't grant them that room. But the bill on the Rastafarians, it became lenient. But the Rastafarians now, and many traditional communities like the healers, and like I said earlier, the Khoi and the San, must now think beyond, because culture has got a capital impact. So the issue of trade, the issue of selling must not be limited only to those who have money, but even those who don't, they must benefit.
You know, because these licenses are so expensive. That's why I was asking you, do you think that there's going to be a change now? Because a lot of people now are hopeful.
You know, a change is within the human beings. The people who make change in the Department of Agriculture, Land Reform, who are going to be controlling, who are going to be the main players in the Cannabis Master Plan, the Department of Health, Department of Trade and Industry, Department of Treasury, the Department of Basic Education and Higher Education, because in doing the research on cannabis, many universities have been doing clandestine research on cannabis for many years. Now you need to open the doors of learning even for cannabis growers from Bondoland, from Tekwini, from KZN, from every corner where people are planting marijuana. You need to give them access to education. In the cannabis modules. You need to study cannabis. So that's why I'm telling to you, you don't have to look at the presidency as the champion of Cannabis Master Plan. My worry is the competency of government officials in those departments. My worry is those at the local municipalities. Mahotu, you know, Amasela, they are criminals who are going to be stealing this cannabis green crop. And we are warning them as we are here, as we are still alive, to say, if you steal the money of cannabis, you'll be exposed. And ultimately you'll be ill disposed, you'll be sick. Because you'll have eaten the money of the people. So we are all aware in the cannabis industry, we're still going to find criminals, the cartels, the drug peddlers.
Wow, you guys are serious.
So we should be aware that what we want to do in this country, if it indeed has to benefit our people, let it benefit our people medicinally, let it benefit our people in the food industry, let it benefit our people in the clothing industry, like when you think of the hemp, let it benefit our people educationally. You know, for us, Arboni Ganja marijuana as a recreational thing, it's going to benefit many community members who have been struggling. But like I told you, that change lies on the intergovernmental department, communicating and consulting communities of practice. Because whatever government is doing on behalf of the people.
Okay. And the last time I spoke to you, you did mention that you guys were going to be doing the workshop.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing those workshops, and how can people be part of those workshops?
No, there are workshops that the Rastafarians are going to be conducting amongst themselves first. They are still planning.
Okay, so it's not open to the public?
It's not going to be open to the public. The government, the Department of Justice, were the ones who are supposed to actually be doing consultative sessions and workshops to explain about the impact of the bill, as well as the Ministry of Agriculture, because the Cannabis Master Plan as well, there's a part on advocacy and research and communication. So if you look at workshops, education on cannabis, you find that even the mainstream media, they touch on it and jump on it. You look at your community media, they jump on it. You go on print media, you find articles that are like, there's a new innovation around cannabis to fight COVID-19.
Like what happened now with the SONA.
It
was just
SONA,
news,
and
then it was done.
But if you look at the print media, like of today, I look at some papers today, there's no SONA on cannabis, but I know there were news channels that were even following Rastafari. I mean, they were following Rastafarian activists from Cape Town to Polokwane, getting their views. What are your views on this? And they were very clear. The same language I'm talking to you now, of saying that the cannabis, marijuana, Mutogwane industry cannot benefit the few and the rich. And mostly we will identify them and we will locate them, and we will clearly say who are the people who are the new elites or the tenderpreneurs on marijuana. Because if you don't tackle it now, then we are failing our human rights values as Africans. And the industry industry, our parents, they suffered for it. Our communities, they've suffered. But now if you have to correct it, like I said, those workshops, even universities, you see, where I used to work, where I'm still working, but at our university, I tried to push marijuana in Daba and bringing all communities of people, because even the role of universities, we are the centers of knowledge, we are the knowledge reservoirs, we are community centers of knowledge. But like I said earlier, there are many universities who have conducted clandestine research on cannabis and they never open it up to the communities of practice.
Wow.
That is my worry. And finally I can say to you again, the other innovation of cannabis which is still holding. I think last year November we had community engagement where we were doing with biomedical on cannabis in our institution, and we raised the issue of when COVID emerged or erupted in 2020. The Ministry of Science and Technology had 20 herbs to look into, and out of the 20, out of 6, it was Mhlonyana, which is Lengana, and cannabis. But were they taken forward? We don't know. And how do we connect it? How do we pursue? The Agricultural Research Council, they've been researching hemp 1, hemp 2 since 1994. Why 28 years later you are still sitting with the findings that will have alleviated poverty, will have eradicated poverty.
And you were keeping it a secret, really?
That's a thing. So we have a problem with our administrators and our government officials. As I said to you, we must never lose hope in whatever government is trying to do. The main issue is the manifestation, and it's a human error sometimes. Human error goes with human intelligence. So if you have people who miss the point of understanding the benefits of all these master plans, President spoke about your master plan on sugar, the steel, what. But when he spoke about cannabis, he spoke twice about it. He used the example of Lesotho. You have Rwanda now, you have Zimbabwe. I can't recall other African countries who are already now entering the business of cannabis. But even those African countries too, they're doing the same like South Africa. They are still suppressing ordinary people. The real farmers and growers are not beneficiaries of this cannabis value chain.
And I also feel that they are following the model of the Europe. They are not trying to develop an African model that will actually benefit us like you're saying right now. Yeah,
and to develop an African model or a way out, or what is an African way on cannabis, we need to consult and consultative session. So if the province like Kibua, the Masbala, your national government, issue of cannabis, more master planning. The master plan must learn a consult about if you can look over to a benefit about from your local municipality to provincial. So that people must not run around, because we know two provinces like Eastern Cape and KZN and Cape Town as one of the areas where, and Free State towards Lesotho, Mpumalanga towards Eswatini. But the value chain of the cannabis industry must benefit ordinary people and farmers and growers and women and youth. I think Bashande it when a target it don't benefit them. And our ordinary elders who have been into farming, maybe they need to do diverse farming now. They can no longer plant sunflower all along. Yes, sunflower is important, maize is important, but now the new cash crop that they should be thinking now.
The gold, the green gold.
It is that green gold.
No, what we will do is we will definitely keep engaging with you to find out what new developments are taking place, because I know you are very active for the community, as you just said, you know. Where can people get hold of you?
Yeah, if people want to get hold of me, my Twitter handle is Ras Sipho. That's my Twitter handle. I'm not on the Facebook or...
I know you're not quite active on social media.
And then Instagram, yes, it's Ras Sipho.
But also promote your radio station, because I know you are...
Yeah, no, TV, Soweto TV, we are on Soweto TV on Thursdays between 10 and 11, where the time always changes, 10, 11, the schedule, you know, sometimes times 8:30 to 9:30, but it's a 1 hour show now. We are back on 1 hour full scale, where we play reggae and we explain a lot. I do online radio as well, Saturday, Radio Panache. We're working on a new podcast on Africa 54. Zooming into the continent with one of the prominent radio personalities in this country. But we are not dealing with paparazzi,
How about the shash? Education.
We'll be focusing on the Pan-African education, the niche of the Africa. We'll be focusing on issues of marijuana as well, the books in Africa, and cannabis as well. So we are joining the world of this podcast, you know, at that level. And like I said, I do radio online, playing reggae, but still looking at the issues of cannabis as well, because it's part of education. If you don't have cannabis education corner, then our people will be miseducated, they will be unlearned.
Because education is key.
Education is the key for the betterment of our nation.
No, thank you so much, my brother, for coming on to our show.
Give thanks.
Again.
Blessed.
Please do remember to cannabis responsibly at all times. Thank you. And we out.
It's a wrap.
Please do remember to cannabis responsibly at all times.